Previewing every single conference tournament in college basketball. This time we're taking a look at the Missouri Valley. Been a great year for this conference. Arch Madness. Let's go. First up, number 8 Murray State versus number 9 Missouri State. Murray State swept the season series. Neither game was really that close. They handled Missouri State both times. Murray State's a better offensive team, due for a ton of positive regression per shot quality. And even though they don't defend the three very well, Missouri State doesn't shoot the three very well, so it doesn't really matter. Everything I'm seeing is telling me I should pick Murray State to win this game, right? Seems pretty cut and dry, but it's never that easy. And if you've been following along with some of my other conference tournament previews, you know it's not that easy. I'm getting a ton of these first-round games wrong, and I think I'm in a position where I kind of have to fade myself. I don't have a great reason to think Missouri State wins. The numbers don't really back me up there. I'm going to take Missouri State regardless. Actually, I do like their backcourt. I'll say that. I like their backcourt. They get a lot of production from those guys. I need some justification to make this pick. I'm going to take Missouri State. Next up, number 5 Belmont versus number 12 Valpo. Not going to belabor the point here. Belmont's maybe the hottest team in the conference. They've won 7 of their last 8. Valpo's in the 300s on KenPom, or at least close to it. I'm taking Belmont. All right, getting back to this a little bit later in the day because games have started and I need to make sure I get this one up. I see Missouri State is winning, though, so that's cool. Let's hope that continues. Number 7 Illinois State versus number 10 Evansville. These teams split their season series, I believe, relatively evenly matched. Illinois State's been playing better as of late. They went on a little run towards the end of the conference slate where they took down Indiana State and Northern Iowa. Good wins for them. Evansville's lost 7 in a row. And if you look over on KenPom, they're still top 50 in luck rating after losing 7 games in a row, somehow still outperforming their analytical expectations, which is not a good sign. I'm going to take Illinois State. Number 6, Southern Illinois versus number 11, UIC. Southern Illinois is the better team, and they have the best player in this game. Xavier Johnson's been one of the best scoring guards in the country this season. Give me Southern Illinois. Quarterfinals, number 1 Indiana State versus number 9 Missouri State. This is a game where I think Missouri State's weaknesses will be pretty apparent. They're not a good three-point shooting team, and they allow opponents to shoot threes at a pretty high rate. That plays right into what Indiana State wants to do. They like to shoot the three. They make a lot of them. Indiana State swept the season series. One of those games was pretty close, decided by just 2 or 3 points. So I'm not counting out Missouri State in terms of their ability to be competitive in this game, but I think Indiana State is just in a different class. Give me the Sycamores. Number 4, Northern Iowa versus number 5, Belmont. These teams split the season series. The road team won each of those games. They match up pretty similarly on the glass, so no clear advantage there. I do think Belmont has a pretty clear advantage offensively. They like to run the floor. They shoot the three at a high rate. They make the three at a high rate, like 38% as a team. And Northern Iowa's not the type of team that's going to chase them off the line. They allow opponents to shoot a pretty high volume of threes. Belmont's got 3 guys averaging like 17 points a game. They're red hot. I like Belmont to get the win here. Number 2, Drake versus number 7, Illinois State. I don't want to count out the Redbirds. They're a team that can definitely be competitive in these sorts of games, especially when you don't expect them to be. But Drake is just a better team on both ends of the floor. They're going to have the best player in this game in Tucker DeVries, who's just been fantastic this year. Drake swept the season series. They won those games by 18 points and 17 points respectively. I'm not overthinking this. I'm taking Drake. Number 3, Bradley versus number 6, Southern Illinois. Like I said, I really like what Xavier Johnson's done at Southern Illinois this year. He's been fantastic. He's the type of guy that can carry the Salukis to a win here. He's done that a few times this season. But I don't think enough people are talking about how good this Bradley team is. To me, they're in the same class as teams like Indiana State or Drake, but they don't get nearly the same amount of praise or publicity as those teams do. Overall, in this game, I think they're the better team. I think they're going to win the game. They swept the season series. One of those games was close, but the most recent one, they blew out Southern Illinois. Give me Bradley. Semifinals, number 1, Indiana State versus number 5, Belmont. This game would be so much fun from a shot-making perspective. 2 teams that are red hot, love to run the floor, shoot the three, convert at a high percentage. I don't love Belmont's chances in this game just because I think they play a little too similar to how Indiana State wants to play. And to beat a team like the Sycamores, you got to get them off balance. You got to run them off their spots. You got to keep them from getting into their rhythm. And stylistically, I just don't think Belmont is the type of team that's going to do that. They're also not the best three-point defense in terms of limiting three-point attempts. I don't think it's an accident that Indiana State swept the season series and won one of those games by 30 points. I'm not sleeping on Belmont, but I don't love their matchup here. I'm going Indiana State. Number 2, Drake versus number 3, Bradley. This is such a tough game for me to pick. I've gone back and forth on it. Like I said, I think Bradley's really underrated. Best defensive team in the conference, really balanced offensively. I think they could absolutely take down an Indiana State or a Drake and go on to win Arch Madness. Drake, also a fantastic team. They've been great all year. Will once again have the best player in this matchup with Tucker DeVries. And they've sort of owned Bradley lately. This year, swept them in the regular season, beat them in the Arch Madness championship last year. It's a total toss-up for me. It really is. I've tried to record this part like 3 or 4 times, and I've had a different pick and a different thought every single time. I really want to pick Bradley. The tiebreaker for me, though, I went and looked at Evan Mia's opponent adjust ratings, which just looks at, do you play your best basketball against better competition or against worse competition? And Drake plays their best basketball against the best competition that they play. That's the tiebreaker for me. Tucker DeVries has been on a heater lately. I'm taking Drake. And for the Arch Madness Championship and the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, I've got number 1 Indiana State taking on number 2 Drake, 2 teams that I've really loved to watch this year. They split their season series. Each team won their game at home. Really hard to pick between them, really hard to see what the clear advantages are. I think Indiana State's offensive system is better. I think Drake is maybe marginally better on the defensive end. It's close. I'd say Indiana State has the advantage down low with Robbie Avila, who's been their best player all year. But Indiana State's Isaiah Swope, their second leading scorer and a major perimeter threat for them this season, is battling through a knee injury right now. It's something that's going to require surgery after the season, and he's just sort of gutting it out. But you can see over the last month or so, his production has definitely dipped a little bit. Indiana State's still fantastic, and they're a next man up type of team, but not at full strength. Don't love that. I'm going to take Drake to go back-to-back, win the Arch Madness Championship for the second consecutive year. I hated making these picks, man. Having to pick between Indiana State, Drake, and Bradley was just so tough. 3 fantastic teams who I think are all capable of winning this tournament. Definitely sleeper potential with Belmont, given the hot streak that they're on, and Southern Illinois to an extent if Xavier Johnson just hard carries. But yeah, really tough tournament to pick. I think if Drake wins, that's the best chance we have at a 2-bid MVC, which would be the best case scenario for everybody involved. I'd really like to see that. But yeah, let me know what your picks are. Let me know your thoughts, and make sure you're following for the rest of my college basketball content.